Okay, so what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be starting preparations for the novel that I'm trying to write regarding the 9 species Nichols from when the prototitan Oranos was actually a Greek mythological god, and we're currently, for the purposes of polytheistic belief and non insulting religious purposes towards Greece and other nations, including Rome, Italy. We are exploring the idea that he is the first and only God creator and has created multiple worlds. And prior to being on what is assigned to be Earth, he's actually standing in some studio in the middle of outer space. With this theory, we are assuming that all god deity names and all goddess deity names were depicted before the Big Bang. And since they're depicted before the Big Bang, then everyone's going to have their own place in their own time. So finding out a new story for them to do is the only thing they're really trying to come up with. And since he currently rules alone, trying to figure out how to prepare things so that the other names can be gods and goddesses and can create with their own magics without interfering with his, and according to quantum physics, one mass expanding object will inevitably dick with another one at some point in time, which is what we're currently trying to stray away from. But got a lot of it in the calligraphy Lumnosian. I've been writing it for about 5 months now. I find it really easy and peaceful. It hides writing really well. I just sound a little bit stuttery is because I just got done eating, and also with the windows open, so 45, 50 degrees, absolutely beautiful out. Hopefully, by the end of this story, we will have the purposes of Erica Dreller, the Island of Mysterious Wealth. She's kind of the hero-esque type Magi woman. And her quest is after she stumbles into an island of mysterious wealth owned by Oranos himself. She tries to set back the ways of her species using magic without having to create, say, the walkway. It's at a point in time where creation doesn't have as much gravity, so walking somewhere to, like, I don't know, say maybe the window right there or the tree would sometimes require enough oxygen magic, enough space magic, enough gravity magic to actually construct a pathway in front of you, kind of like a drawbridge, like on a Voyager spaceship. You know, we're trying to launch the gate, extending it, locking in, and everything. A magic wand kind of does that, and it's really nothing for anything else other than that. It's not Harry Potter-esque, where you can use it, you can't kill with it. You know, if you use it on something too, it's going to incorporate it into the biome that it makes. And if you make one too big, you'll accidentally make a world. So the reason Oranos is on Earth right now is this guy called the Harvest Master of Kohenrai has used too little for about 10,000 years. And in using too little, he actually accumulated enough to make a world. And because there's no gravity at the time pulling on anything, there's no sun and moon, there's no spinning, making that world means he is now a god of it. Oranos, rather than wanting to police him and saying what he can and can't do, simply remembers that he was chosen to be a god, so that, you know, he knows there's no memories in him to further things like hatred and angst, and that the reason he may be as simple as he is and may seem as little intelligent as he is because he has to see that plane of the span of the planet all the way from its beginning to its ending. So I mean, Earth itself is about approximately 14 billion years, I think 7 billion years for the Big Bang dust to settle, that are inversed. These two are part of the 10 worlds that will lead to the grand collision of all matter. And in the matter movers, when matter gets stuck, and even living beings get stuck and frozen, because everything is at peace with its own, I don't want to say at peace with its own physical flesh, in the way of, like, nothing, no breath is going to surprise them. You know, you can breathe out, you can run, you can do anything, but it's like running 10 feet and having the perfect water bottle there that you wanted. Everything is structured. It seems like the easy path playthrough of existence, and it's because once the Big Bang hits, everything is over. So it's kind of a storyline hierarchy of them bouncing off the Big Bang like it's a big silver marble. And this big silver marble has one on the opposite end, and it's where they come from. Outside our current belt of stars, if you could ever formally imagine it as Earth and then the stars, and if they were all in one big circle, outside that would be like the colored gases, miasmas, nebulas. Outside that is pure black outer space. Light doesn't travel very far, but it can go infinitely because there's no gravity. That's it's completely hypothetical and it's non real in any way, at least I think. And then it'd be like everything gets shorter, and the distance between Earth and Mars is about 10 steps. So, while all this doesn't seem to mash up very well, I am in the mid-process of finding my other writings. I had about 10 pages before. I was writing something kind of similar to Light and Darkness, Lord Light and Lord Darkness. God separated them. But we're going to go ahead and place this, I don't know, let's see if to our belt of stars in the Big Bang, from the grand implosion to the Big Bang, is about 2 trillion years. We're going to say there are about 19 of them back. So we're quite far in the story hierarchy. I started at the beginning. I was about 14 years old, and the storyline's been going in my head ever since. And it was kind of difficult to pay attention in school, but when you look at enough writing and enough symbols, your brain decides to kind of make a storyline out of it. And it's an amazing and complex thing, and it's the reason I haven't been dreaming a lot of the same dreams. Is most of my memories don't really fit the myth that I'm trying to do, so I feel comfortable exploring this subject. I like the Greek language. I love Greek gods: Poseidon, Zeus, Hades, Hera, Hestia, Demeter, Kronos, Oranos, Rhea, Silius, Phobos, Perseus. It sounds like Perseus, but it's actually Perseus the Titan. It's one of the Titan myths of the Titanomachy, the war. I'm not trying to infringe or otherwise, kind of step into Rick Riordan's world of writing, because I love and respect his writings. I read them for a lot of years, and that's kind of why I know my storyline is very different. But I do like the idea of writing. I want to try to make money. I want to try to be an author. And most importantly, I want to inform people that this is the symbols. It's a language I made up. I call it Lumnosian. It's kind of short for Light's Ocean. Should be pretty cool. I don't have a whole lot on Lord Darkness, but that's mainly because I see the war of heaven and hell as a civil war. To me, in my myth, Satanael was Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael's brother, child of Lilith and Yahweh, and those two were just the immortals at the time. There wasn't really anything else. But I'm assuming that there were some kinds of other variant species, people existing in the past or whatever, as non-finite human things with the necessity to be recreated after some great cataclysm. And I'm pretty sure that's what they were. Is they were the keepers of that secret. No matter how long it took, it simply takes something like writing it down, keeping it, and to keep a treasure like that for a long time is very hard to do. And once the Civil War happened, Satan, picked up the Sepulchre Stone of Darkness or whatever and began to rule. And they say Michael is kind of his opposite, but Raphael starts with an R, and I figure that's where Right Hand of God came from. Luciferiel starts with an L. Luciferiel was Satana, if I hadn't actually explained that already. Mostly evangelicism. Polyistic myth. So I figured those were the right and left hands of God, and I want to get into eventually that kind of dot matrix, the digital animation world, and how being it from place to place, would be just kind of a quick consciousness transfer, or your whole brain is USB ready, and it just kind of transfers through it, and that way you're not one finite thing, and that way you don't worry if your hand gets broken off. In Rick's writings, Kronos, the Titan Lord, he comes he reforms and stuff, but he gets blown up, and they say he may never reform. He may never pull his particles back together, his arms, hands, and stuff. It's like that, but the main priority is to keep everyone together to assemble the dot matrix again, because it made them all into computers, and it ran a scenario with them. It just freaking made them live a life, and it was pretty cool. They're trying to rebuild it again, but they don't know how. It just kind of showed up, responded to a question that no one knew anyone asked, and just kind of left. So, everyone stays alive for the fundamental purpose of this. We're set way before humans, we're set way before Earth, but I do want to have Earth-like characters in there, and we don't really have too much in the making. It's currently just myself. I asked a guy named Christian, a friend of mine. I was gonna ask him if he wanted to write some of this with me. I'm always open to interpretations on artwork, on what people should look like or whatever, in case any of this seems good to anyone looking for stories and calligraphy writing, which is pretty much how I do this. It's fun to calligraphy because when it looks straighter, it looks good. And the foundation of it is belief. Because I want to make this my myth one day. I believe in it, but because I kind of write the characters a little bit, I don't really believe in it too much. And I will have more in time, and I will, next episode, after I edit this one, of course, is going to be a little bit about the calligraphying of the language and how I came up with it. It's all in English. Each one stands for a letter, but I do have some symbols that mean words like cliff and variant ocean and fire break and even like matter wall. Like a desk was like a shield barrier from some magic thing. I'm trying to do non-traditional myth magic. I guess that's why I used Oranos. He's so far back in the storyline, they have Tartarus in their storyline, so I figure using Oranos as a name would be pretty okay, because I don't really think he used it in any of his writings. I've read up until The Blood of Olympus. Big fan of him. But no, yeah, I don't think he uses Oranos in storylines. Because to me, this dude could never be Tartarus. It would be his dot matrix, his creation studio, like his clay set, just kind of gaining enough heat and memories to kind of manufacture a myth of him being evil, so that way they could study together something new or something else, because creation after creation is supposedly a nightmare for people. To me, God is